that he probably deserves. And that's just the way it is. And like I say, the game hasn't changed. Kobe said it. LeBron said it. And so we're going to hold him to the same high standard.
Whether he won a championship or not with the Warriors, how he did it, he drove the bus. He talks about driving the bus, right? Like, maybe it wasn't his bus, but he took the keys and he drove it. And he was the best player on that team.
T-Shot, J. Will, and Max. Brought to you by Capital One with no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees. Banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A., member FDIC. And joining us now, our old friend, ESPN NBA senior writer. It's Dr. Dre, y'all. Andre Snellings. What's up, Dre?
What up, Dre?
Good morning, fellas.
Oh, you up today?
Early to hang with you guys.
Yeah, you up today though.
The good doctor is in the
Oh
house.
yeah.
So
caffeine in my system.
Ooh, let's go. Let's get it.
Dre, does Kevin Durant need to win a title without the Warriors? Not a 73-win team. He just joins ready-made. Let's go. We already know he can ball. To prove he is in the highest echelon of all-time greats, the answer is yes. But what do you say?
The answer is definitely yes for barbershop conversations and for this conversation. I personally am not a ring counter. I don't look at rings and say, "Oh, this changes how I think this player performed." I thought Durant was the same player in Oklahoma City as he was in Golden State, as he is in Brooklyn. I'm confident that I can see and I can evaluate what he is. But for these conversations and for the conversations he wants to have and the narrative he wants to have for his career, yeah, especially after the Warriors won this season, people are going to look at KD differently unless and until he shows he can do it without the Warriors team.
Snell, let me ask you this, man, because I was talking to Max and Jay the other day, and you know, I'm a basketball fan, and I'm looking at the Warriors get their fourth chip, and I'm saying to myself, they done found this Andrew Wiggins kid. He's not Kevin Durant. He's number one overall pick, not Kevin Durant or whatever. And I'm looking at it, and I'm saying to myself, man, I wonder if the Warriors would have won in 17 and 18 if they had a Wiggins type instead of a Kevin Durant with everything that they already had. Will they have
the fence is 300 feet away. A home run, you can hit a 350-foot home run. You don't need to hit it 500 feet to hit a home run.
Dre, what you think, Snell?
Dre, go ahead, Dre.
I can hear the pain in Jay's voice. Here's the thing. This Warriors team, pre-Durant, with Durant, after Durant, it was great. Durant's an outstanding player, and the fact that we're even talking about him anywhere near the top 10 in NBA history should show that. But if you break it down just looking at the analytics, I'm a nerd. I do that. It was clear who the most important player on the Warriors, especially for the offense, was during this entire era. And it was not Kevin Durant. Even when he got to Golden State, if you look at the impact stats, which I like to look at, ESPN has one real plus minus. The top player in the NBA in 2016 and 17, which was the year before and the year of Durant, was Steph Curry. Kevin Durant has only been in the top 5 in real plus minus 3 times in his entire career, and that's including every stop he's made, because he's an excellent finisher. He might be the greatest scorer that this game has ever seen. But when it comes to changing the way his offense and or his defense performs, he doesn't have the same level of impact on his team's offense that Steph Curry does. Because Steph Curry is not just scoring and putting up points. He's changing the way opposing defenses have to guard their whole team. So even if KD gets 30 and Steph gets 25, the way that the defense defends the Warriors is much more predicated on Curry's presence than it was on KD's. So, yes, possibly if you had an Andrew Wiggins-type performer in that place. I mean, in 2015 and 16 you did with Harrison Barnes, who wasn't even, to Andrew Wiggins' level. So, yes, you can make a strong case if you had this year's Wiggins in 17 and
That's
18, they have a good chance to win those seasons too.
This is the first year Wiggins has been an all-star in his career. He's had a phenomenal year. This has not been like the Wiggins the entire time he's been with the Warriors, first off. Secondly, KD, in those 2 years that they won chips, averaged 25 and 26 in the regular season, a couple of percentage points off 50, 40, 90 each season. So I agree with your point that the offense is predicated around Stephen Curry, built around the continuity of the offensive system. And I'm not diminishing Stephen Curry's importance to the team, but I'm also not diminishing how great of a player Kevin Durant was for them those 2 seasons and how he elevated his performances. Even those numbers go up massively during the playoff performances.
May I say,
real quick,
Dre,
the first thing you said, this is the first year that Andrew Wiggins became an all-star.
Yes.
It was the first year he got to play with Steph, Clay, and Dre.
Fair.
And so, again, this doesn't diminish KD to say that this system with these players was already in place. And so if you
Dre,
add
that's fair.
someone with a type of talent at that small forward position,
I agree, but Dre, this whole thing that we can just plug random players into the system and it's automatically going to work at that caliber.
I really want to get it. I really want to get in here because I've been holding my tongue, Dre, as you were talking. I totally agree with your assessment. And by the way, the numbers back it up, your assessment of the impact overall of Steph. He allows you to get there, right? That he is the key that allows you to get there, even with KD there. But in 15, they were clearly inferior to the Cavs, got very lucky that the second and third best players on the Cavs went down, or they lose that series. They went 6 games without Kyrie or Kevin Love. Give me a break. In 16, they lost. 17 and 18, they crushed everything in sight with KD. So there are pivotal, high-leverage moments in the playoffs when KD's otherworldly ability elevates them out of proportion. Like, how do you address that, right? Harrison Barnes could not do that. That's why they were inferior to the Cavs in 2 consecutive seasons when it mattered most. And then later on, Wiggins just did it. They weren't playing the Cavs. They weren't playing LeBron. But okay, he did it, and Steph had a huge series. But until this last season, in the highest leverage moments, Steph was not able to be the best player on the floor. So his team was not the best player on the floor. Kevin Durant was. Isn't that Kevin Durant's value?
Well, so first of all, think where I started. We're talking about Kevin Durant possibly being in the top 10 to 15 to 20 NBA players of all time. Of course, he added something. I'm not saying he wasn't important to the team. What I'm saying is that when we compare him to a guy like Curry, what Durant was bringing was not larger than what Curry was bringing. And so, to your point about what he did in the postseason being important to them, yes, he was a great player. But were he not there, you can't just assume that the team that had won a championship and then the next year won 73 games and was within
Paul George or Jimmy Butler were there.
Okay.
And that's my whole conversation with them. It's not that Kevin Durant didn't make them look invincible. I just look at it and go,
you don't need to hit a 500-foot home run.
You slide a guy in there that got some ability, they may be able to do it. Now, let me ask you this.
Musa, no, don't ask this one. The fact that you're even going to read this question,
I'm not reading anything.
Hold on, I got lambasted a couple of weeks ago because I didn't give the same answer that on the sheet of paper it said I was supposed to give by the time they asked me the question in real time. And now I can't believe we're about to do this. Keith, read the question.
I just want to ask you this.
It's
not a question to ask. I'm coming off the top of my head.
Yeah, off the dome.
Yeah, off the dome. That's how the question was created because I was just thinking, as I always do every now and then. So if Kevin Durant is there and he's a Warrior, can we remove Steph Curry with Clay and Draymond and Kevin Durant and let's say Dame Lillard or Trae Young and slide them into Golden State? Are they still cooking?
Ooh, all right. So Dame Lillard has that game, and Trae Young does too. So that's not – first of all, I'm just saying this. This isn't an equivalent comparison. Going from Kevin Durant to Andrew Wiggins is not the same as going from Steph Curry to other top 10, 15 players in the NBA. With that said, we've never seen this Warrior system with anybody but Steph in that role. I think they would still be excellent. I mean, you talk about having KD, Dame Lillard, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green as your core, I would think that should still be a contender. But to the point of what we're talking about here, I think that you have to replace Curry with a better player to project a similar level team
I see what you're
than
saying,
if you
I think
replace
that's right.
KD with a.
No,
a-
in other words,
can't replace
but this
Steph
is
with
why I
Trey
asked
or
a
Dame.
basketball expert
Yeah.
like Dre to tell me, because I can't listen to Jay.
But there are different ways of measuring value, Jay. They're different. Like what Andre Snellings is saying. It seems to me. You correct me if I'm wrong, Dre. Is that you need a closer version to Steph in order to get similar results. You need a farther away version of KD to get similar results. That